Hey everyone, and welcome to the channel. So today we get to take a look at the Ford Mustang Shelby GT350R. Huge shout out to 704 Exotics for providing this muscle car for me today. Take a look at their website, that link is down in the description. So this 350R is finished off in shadow black. MSRP start right around $74,000. And underneath the hood, this utilizes the 5.2 liter Voodoo Coyote V8, only paired to the 6-speed manual transmission. It pumps out 526 horsepower, 429 pound-feet of torque. That power is sent to the rear wheels, propelling this 3,600-pound muscle car from 0 to 60 in 3.9 seconds. It has a top speed of 172 miles an hour. It also has a fuel capacity of 16 gallons. You'll expect to see around 14 miles per gallon in the city, 21 out on the highway. This also has a wheelbase of 107.1 inches. Its overall length is 188.9. It has a width of 75.9 and a height of 54.2 inches. Now, there's also two variants for this GT350. There's the GT350 and the GT350R, which of course is what we are looking at today. Very minor differences between the two. However, the R for a GT350R stands for race spec. So this muscle car weighs a little bit less. It has a little less options as far as creature comforts go, but it has some more rigidity and performance-oriented features to make this the race spec version. As we work our way to the exterior styling now, you'll notice that this has the matte black stripes along with the red pinstripe that run down the entire hood there. There's also a functional heat extraction vent, that trim accent right in the middle. There's the GT350 badge on that passenger side. Shelby is also on the front splitter there. This has LED headlights with the DRLs on the inside of that housing, and then the turn signals are in the lower section. And then there's plenty of cutouts to provide a lot of cooling to all the components up front. You'll notice that this has a very distinctive Mustang design with that grille in the upper section there. And then as we work our way to the side, the GT350R should be equipped with carbon fiber wheels. Unless these are just painted gloss black, they should be carbon fiber. This also has 6-piston Brembo brakes up front, 4 pistons are in the rear, and this also has the magnetic ride. So you can of course adjust the suspension depending on how you're driving for the day. Now this has the body colored mirror caps along with a turn signal. There's also the stripe that continues on the roof there. And then a side skirt in the lower section there to match up front with a small fin just behind that front tire. There's the GT350 badge as well as a trim accent just behind that front tire too. And this is also equipped with a different set of tires. This has the Michelin Pilot Sport Cup 2s to give you that added grip for the performance drive. Now as far as the side design goes, looks like every other Mustang really, with all the lines that go down the side. And then that leads our way to the rear, where we have this distinctive trunk-mounted spoiler, very large there. There's the GT350 badge in the middle, backup camera, sequential design for those 3D taillights there, and then the diffusers in the lower section, as well as that quad-tip dual exhaust, along with the inlets on both sides there to provide some better airflow for this sports car. Now, as we work our way to the trunk space, you can use the button on the key fob. However, even though this is still track focused, you get the button down below to make this practical. So of course, you can daily drive this muscle car where you have a good bit of space. Now, that section there does not fold down, so this is it for the amount of space that you get in the trunk. You do get a little bit of space underneath the floor where you could hide some items if needed. And then even with that trunk spoiler, it's very, very lightweight. Obviously, being the R, everything needs to be lighter weight for better performance. Now, as we work our way to the interior, you'll notice there's Alcantara on the back of the door panel there. Really nice brushed accent for the release handle. There's your mirror adjustments, side window controls, a little bit of storage underneath. And then the R is equipped with these recaro seats. They are cloth and they are manual adjusting. So there's the bar to slide them, the height adjustment, recline and incline. And then the R also comes with the rear seat delete. So you get a little bit more storage in the back. Obviously you can't put people in the back with that deleted. And then as we hop into the interior, we have the Alcantara steering wheel, a little bit of leather in the lower section there. Red stripe is also up top. And then we have several controls to go over. So let's start this up with my foot on the brake and the clutch, put it into neutral. We can bring this to life. And looking at the gauge cluster now, you'll notice the tach and engine temperature are on the left side. Right side, there's miles per hour and the fuel level. There's also the small LCD screen right in the middle where you can go through a lot more info using these controls on the left side of the steering wheel. However, you do have some controls on the right side. So you can go into that suspension, make it stiffer, so you have normal and sport. You can also go into your steering where you have normal, sport, and comfort. And then you also have different modes that you can go into for the drive mode itself. Hopefully you just heard the exhaust note will change too, depending on the mode that you go into. So it will get louder in sport mode there. And then using the rest of these controls to go through all of this information, you have your gauge mode that you can go into so you can monitor all of these vitals. You have trip and fuel, which, let's face it, is not going to be that important in a vehicle like this. You have your track apps, so you can go into line lock, launch control, your exhaust note, you have your shift indicator, as well as a few others that you can go into, brake performance, all of that information. You have some driver assistance, so you can monitor those, different settings to go into, and that's pretty much it. So it's nice that you do have a few things to go through. There's also your cruise control, which is on this left side. You have Bluetooth adjustments and then volume and tuning for the radio. Now on this left side, there's nothing but the hood release. You have your headlight adjustments with one air vent. There's also a few vitals right in the middle that you can monitor with those gauges. And then we have the LCD screen right in the middle. So you'll notice that all these shortcuts in the lower section are quick to get into. So you can quickly get through all of this. Now, one thing that I did research and look up, the GT350R should not have the AC. The AC should be deleted to save weight, along with floor mats and then the backup camera. So let's put this into reverse, where we do get the backup camera. So it's interesting to see we have R on the seats, but we have some of those amenities. So maybe they were options that you could get for the GT350R. But aside from that, we have all of your creature comforts now that you can go through if you opt for it. There's volume and tuning. You have all of those AC adjustments down below, and then some toggle switches for your hazards, traction control, you have launch control, and then the exhaust note. So you have normal or sport, and then it will change, as you heard, with the driving modes. A little bit of storage down below. We have the 6-speed manual here, which has the short throws to it. 2 cup holders behind that, manual e-brake there. You do get a little bit of storage with auxiliaries in the armrest, along with storage in the glove box, and then we have the GT350R logo with your chassis number just above that. There's the rear view mirror with dome lights, and then here's a look at visibility. Just like every other Mustang, that wing looks big from the back, but from the driver's seat, you can pretty much see around it, which is very nice. And then you have a little bit of visibility over that left side. As we set off now, behind the wheel for the GT350R. This is my first time getting to drive this model for the Ford Mustang. I think this is a really cool package to get. It seems to be a more popular or race-focused version of the GT500. And by that I mean, I think a lot more people really like the driving characteristics of this a little bit more, especially since the GT500 does not come with the 6-speed manual transmission. Not to say it's not a fun car to drive. I have been able to get behind the wheel of the GT500, but this just seems like a little bit more driver engaging, something that you're just going to have a lot more fun with, and especially in a world where a lot of vehicles are tending to go away from that manual transmission. We still get a lot of cars that have the manual, of course, but it is a little bit more on that rare factor in the grand scheme of things. So being able to get a vehicle with the manual transmission is just a lot more fun. Now, I do have this in sport mode, so that's why the exhaust is a lot louder. I think it has a good tone to it for this. I am surprised that this doesn't have a supercharger on it, but the power seems pretty good so far. You know, I'm not ripping on it, but I do have a friend who owns a 350R and absolutely loves it. This also redlines to just over 8,000. So for it being an NA engine, you have a lot of room to play with this. And from my Audi R8 experience, my car goes to about 7,000 or so. So honestly, in this car, anywhere between 4 and 7, you're going to be able to bring out the gears and really enjoy driving this car. You don't have to shift as often, which can be nice depending on the roads that you are in. Out on the track or something though, would definitely be a heck of a lot of fun. Shifts are also very smooth too. We do have a short throw for this. It's pretty easy to rev match as well. So I like the engagement of this shifter, and the clutch pedal is super light. So you could technically daily drive this. I would probably opt for the 350 just to get those back seats. Not that you would use them, but if you needed to, you have them, unless you're really just having a dedicated track car where you want a little bit of extra weight savings. So this does weigh about, it's like 100 or 200 pounds lighter than the GT350, which doesn't sound like a lot, but with all of the weight savings that this has, it is a little bit of a quicker car, obviously because of that. It's a fun car to drive. I really wish I could get this out on some twisty roads or the track to really experience this performance-oriented Mustang. I'm not a huge Mustang fan, but when I get to drive the performance versions like this, it changes my mind on these cars because it's definitely a heck of a lot of fun. And from second gear, here we go. Obviously this has a lot more potential and I couldn't imagine ringing it out. I have a V8 in my R8, and just being able to get in those higher RPMs really just is a lot of fun when you have the area to do that. But this is what it's like to be behind the wheel for the GT350R. I do like the amount of technology that you do get, but this does have a lot more performance-oriented tech, which is great to see. So obviously with the race spec for the GT350, that's what you would expect and that's what you are going to buy. Now as far as the ride in this goes, I just put it into sport mode and we're bouncing. This is a little bit stiffer. It's something that I personally like. However, you can put it into normal mode. Some of these bumps are still a little bit on that stiffer side, and I'm not knocking it by any means. I like a setup like this just to give you that race vibe, even if you are just daily driving it. So in normal mode, you can feel it. It does have a stiffer suspension overall to it. It is designed much differently to give you that performance drive and that suspension setup. But I like it. I'm a huge fan, and I think I would definitely daily drive this if I had one. Definitely very easy to shift. I like this. This is a fun car. Oh, sounds so good. So if you're a Mustang fan and you want something performance oriented, I think this is the car to get for sure. But that's going to wrap it up. Wish I could do some more performance driving. Ooh, that was a big bump. But yeah, I'm not going to do any performance driving today, but there's been plenty of videos on the GT350Rs and how they drive. But huge shout out again to 704 Exotics for providing this muscle car for me today. Take a look at their website. That link is down below. Give the video a huge thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and consider smashing that subscribe button so you don't miss out on our daily uploads. I'll see you all in the next video.